KB. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A podcast. So I asked on my Instagram page or posted up a Q&A that I wasn't going to answer, obviously, on my Instagram. I would answer it on the podcast. I took a couple days off, went down to Jackson Hole, took some photos, hung out, and so I was a little bit behind on my messages anyway, so this works out really well. This is kind of a combination of the Q&A that I posted about. I've got a few questions I've jotted down that are asked frequently, whether that be in old Q&As or just in private messages, as well as some text messages, things like that I've gotten. So it shouldn't be a super long drawn out podcast, but it will be hopefully informational. I do want to take a minute to thank everyone. I've gotten a lot of super kind messages recently, just checking up on me. Obviously, a lot of changes in my life. A lot of people reaching out about faith, how it's going with me going to church, things of that nature. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody for all the kind messages and encouragement. But things are going good. Doing really well with Born Primitive. That's going good. I work with a really good group of people over there. And when I say that, meaning like Bruno Fallon, who's actually directly in charge of me. He's an awesome leader, great dude to work with. The people that work with me and under me. So that's going really, really well. We've got a lot of things coming up with that, and that will be answered in a lot of these questions. So I put a chew in. I've been chewing Black Buffalo, by the way. It's not like it's perfect, right? It's got nicotine in it, but it doesn't have carcinogens. So that, I think, is probably the best option for people trying to quit chewing. Still not perfect, but Zyn gives me horrible heartburn. So the Black Buffalo has been pretty badass. That was not a question that people asked me, but here we go. I'm going to not mention people's names when I go down answering these, but question number 1, would Born Primitive consider making 100% rubber rain gear? I would not be the final decision with that, but I would say no. Helly Hansen, and I think it's Grunions I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, got that figured out. We are extremely happy with the 4-way stretch rain gear. We've got a really good feedback on that, other than we may need to make a shorter inseam and a different color. But I don't think we're going to change from that. We may end up going with another like super lightweight non-4-way stretch rain gear, but that the Mission Flex is, I mean, it's the best rain gear I've used. It's like wearing hiking pants. So I doubt we'll make all rubber rain gear. How do we purchase photographs from you? That TJ Perez and I are working on that. TJ's doing the lion's share, but we'll have a photography website back up. And obviously, as most people know, that's something I'm focusing on more and more when I can. Especially as I get older, I'm enjoying the photography even more. Is Born Primitive going to offer camo? We already offer multicam and woodland in a desert of some type on the tactical side, so you can get it there. And the Op Assault pant is a badass pant for hunting. The Mossy Oak Bottomland will be available somewhat soon in the next couple months, I believe, in multiple different pieces for Born Primitive Outdoor. As far as an actual camo pattern, as time goes on, the Bottomland, something we're going to do. We may look at doing other things. I like multicam, so if that's something that people really would like to have in the outdoor line, let me know or give me some feedback on that. But Bottomland is going to be available in the outdoor line stuff. Where do you see obtaining an elk tag every year going to in the near future? Basically, are you going to be able to do OTC elk? I see that going away in most states or being limited more and more. I think that's probably a good thing in some areas, even though I'm going to get some hate over that. OTC is not what it used to be. I think building it back to what it once was is a good idea. That's a long drawn out podcast that I should probably get Chris Rowe back on for. But best boots for snow and cold temps for a guy who's a pussy about cold feet. I feel your pain. There's a lot of options out there. I would say the pack boots from Schnee's would be a great option. And then Baffin, I think they make one called the Monster. I can't remember the other names, but take a look. Baffin is what I have for tree stand hunting and snowshoeing in extreme cold weather, or excuse me, for tree stand hunting in extreme cold weather. Those pack boots from Schnee's are unbelievable. So those are the two I look at. Any new adventures planned for 2025? Probably going to guide a little bit, but not as much. Going to hunt a lot more. So I'll be doing Wyoming, Colorado, elk, and South Dakota antelope, mule deer, just the normal stuff like that. I'm just going to try to hit the homeland a lot more here. And, I may draw a sheep tag. I may not. I may go on a goat hunt. I may not, but definitely going to try to kill a couple elk, mule deer, antelope, things like that. Most overlooked skill or skill set by today's hunters. I would say overall woodsmanship, but that's a pretty blank statement. Animal behavior is probably a really big one. What they eat, where they live, why they go where they go. That's an overlooked one. And then land navigation, general navigation, without Spartan Forge or Onyx, like actually how to read a map, plot a grid coordinate. That is one that's really overlooked. General woodsmanship and fieldcraft. Actually, the next one by the same guy. Nope, this is by a different guy. The land nav course. Okay, he's asking about the videos I was posting up. We will have a pay-to-play land navigation module that you can sign up for. There'll be a bunch of free stuff on YouTube, but you'll be able to go through the Born Primitive Outdoor Academy and sign up for a soup to nuts land navigation course online. And then eventually you'll be able to sign up for one on the ground. So I think that question was asked, so I'll just answer that again. So what we have going on at BP, keep in mind I work with a bunch of former tier 1 guys, which is great. So we are going to have different classes on a Patreon account that you can sign up for. So one would be a backpacking 101, and that's going to be size of pack, how to fit a pack, gear going in a pack, how to load a pack, and then obviously different things that to my level that I could teach you. And I say my level and the other instructors online. There's a land navigation course that'll be online, and that's top to bottom from, how contour interval, declination diagram, plotting a grid coordinate, route planning, things like that. So you can pay, and I'm not sure the pricing yet, for each module individually, and you'll have those forever, and we'll keep adding to those. After that, we will have the Born Primitive Outdoor Academy. That'll be the boots on the ground courses. So that may be anything from the backpacking course where you'll go with me and Kurt, Mike, Hearn, Lance Banning, and we will take you on a backpacking trip, which will be really like a introductory course in how to backpack hunt. Now we'll probably go fishing, but you'll learn how to pitch a tent correctly, how to pitch a tarp correctly, what gear we're using, how far we set up away from elk, where we set up to glass for mule deer, fire building and any calling in a helicopter, how we would do that. Land navigation is at what level we can teach in the time period you're back there. We'll go fishing. So what fishing setups we use, water purification, all kinds of stuff. So that would be like a backpacking course. The online academy is going to be the Patreon. There'll be free videos on YouTube as well. And then we'll have another instructor, Caleb, who he will run the courses for land nav, long range shooting, high angle shooting. When I say run him, he'll coordinate them. He'll do all the medical stuff. So we'll be teaching that on the ground. There's a lot going into it, but we just want to basically be able to we're going to have some free content, some that you pay for, courses that you can sign up for. Like the backpacking course will be $750 to $1,200, depending upon the level of the actual backpacking trip and course. And we're literally just going to walk you through everything from you land in the plane at X time, how we plan that, meaning like, okay, we've landed, we're going to get to the trailhead at this time, we're going to try to backpack this far in, we'll set up, we'll move in another whatever X amount of miles the next day, how we plan the route for the water, the navigation to that, do we stay on a trail, again, how to pitch a tent correctly, a tarp correctly, where we set up, everything like that. So anyway, that's a lot. That's a long drawn out answer. Let's see. have any experience with the new AAE Air Razor vein profiles. The new one that I know of, I think he did a 2-3, which is a short little guy. He did that because of Dale Perry, and then he has the Max Hunter profile. I don't have any experience with either one of those, but the original 2.6 Air Razor, I was lucky enough to be one of the first ones to test that. I really like the vein. It's extremely quiet, so I'm looking forward to testing the other ones. All right. Referring to elk, what do you consider a big bull? Two things. One, anything over 4 years old, I would consider a good bull, no matter if it has two giant clubs on its head or it's a 370 bull. Anything over 4, especially 5 years old, I don't really worry about the horn size. It's just a mature animal and I want to kill it. 4 is kind of mature. 5 is definitely mature. But overall, if somebody asked me that number, 300 inches. If you kill a bull 300 inches, you're doing good. Now, if you draw on some crazy tag, that's a different story. Then you may be looking at 350 plus. It really depends. But, gun to my head when somebody asks that, if you've shot 300-inch bulls every year for 15 years, you're a pretty fucking good elk hunter. 280 to 320, because, you're guessing, is it 300? You're close. It might be 285, but 300 inches on average. You get into a pretty good unit, 320. You get into a stellar unit, 350. But again, 300 inches is, kind of where I'm at with that. All right. Your wrist compass or the Sunto or both brand on. Okay. So what compasses do I carry? We just did a whole course on this, but for me, I pretty much only carry a Sunto M9 wristwatch compass. And it's not a wristwatch. It's just a compass you wear on your wrist. I don't always have it on my wrist, but I navigate with that for just about everything. I've had it for years. There's some other good ones. The Silver Ranger 2.0, the Sunto, however you say that, MC2 is another good one. Brunton True Arc 20 is not bad, but I always have that M9 with me. I suggest everyone to have one. Again, we go over all that stuff in these courses. What's a good mic to start with when videoing hunts? Man, I'm probably not the best person to ask for this, but we have DJIs. You can hook them to your phone. You can hook them to the camera. I would say I probably shouldn't even answer that because this is not my bailiwick, but I would say the DJI, and I don't know the model, but that's the brand. What was your most difficult hunt and why? What did you learn from it? That'd be a couple. One would be my grizzly hunt. We backpacked in for grizzly up in British Columbia. We saw one younger grizzly. In 12 days of hunting, we did not see another animal. I mean, fucking nothing. It was freezing cold. It snowed, frigid temps, miserable the entire way. What I learned from that is get the fuck out if you're not seeing animals. When I say that, it seems to make sense, but we were like just pushing a bad hunt. The berries were dead. I knew better. We should have just got out of there, but we kept pushing it. So other than just learning how to take an ass whooping, which I certainly did, it's like, you know what? I should have just called it and came out early. And I didn't call it because we couldn't hack it. Obviously, we could make it. It was literally just no animals there. We should have went to like lower elevation down on the valley floor. Probably the next one, that mule deer hunt when I killed that old 3x3 with Frank. I think we were in there 14 days. Didn't kill it. Didn't kill a deer. I was trying to shoot a mature deer. Came back home for a couple days. I had that fungus growing on my hand and stayed home a day or two, went back in and ended up killing that buck. Physically, that was probably the hardest hunt I'd ever done. Ever have NL Pure's rattle? I've had this question asked a lot, not by this guy only. I went ahead and shook every Swarovski I have, and actually every one rattle a little bit if I shake the shit out of them. So is that good or bad? I don't know that it matters because some of these binos I have are really old, some are brand new. So I say that's standard, whatever's rattling in there. But every set I have, when I went out and checked and shook them, did rattle. All right, next one. Are you guys going to be doing any tack? Are we going to do the tack circuit this year? Born Primitive, I do not believe we'll be doing any of the tack events. And my schedule at this point will be a miracle if I make it to any. When will some pack reviews be out? Fairly soon. So I did some comparison reviews. Stone Glacier, Kafaru. I haven't done EXO yet. Initial Ascent. And they're good reviews. Like, of course, any haters are gonna hop on and say, "Oh, you're gonna fucking do this. You're gonna bash that." And that's not how I did the reviews. They were very comprehensive. And as an example, you if you do a Stone Glacier and a Kafaru, probably biased on my end to Kafaru because I helped design a lot of that shit. But I mean, Bender was the brainchild. But reality, like you look at a Stone Glacier, it's cheaper and it's lighter. You can't get around that. I'd say Kafaru is going to be more. Kafaru is more durable. Once you get into maybe the lighter weight packs, it evens out. Stone Glacier doesn't come with auto lock buckles. I prefer auto lock, so you got to pay for those. You got to put them on, and that adds some weight. But I go into in-depth things like that. Comfort, where does the comfort change? So, like, is it worth paying the extra money for a pack that carries heavier weight better if you're not going to end up carrying that weight? Like, where does that threshold start to teeter one way or another on the scale of, like, okay, after 80, this pack does better than this one, or this frame or whatever. And I break all of that stuff down. So it's certainly not it's not going to have a winner, I guess is what I'm saying. Cause all the good packs have things that are winners. Right. And no matter what that is, I say it within reason, all packs are going to have something. For example, like, the belt system. When I say the belt, the attachment system for accessories on the Stone Glacier is not great. It's fucking horrible, really. But Kafaru, which obviously I help part of that, EXO, which is pretty much identical to a Faru, same kind of a thing. It's very easy to attach stuff to. Same thing like you look at Initial Ascent or whatever. So those will be coming soon, but you're not going to hear me pissing and moaning about anything or one decisive winner all around. There's just going to be certain packs win at certain things. So, but they'll be coming. How long did you do BPC 157 and what was your dosage? So I'm not going to dive into the dosage, but I did BPC 157 and TB 500. It's a mixture, and I'm still doing it. I injected it straight into my calf muscle when I ruptured it. Dosage, I really don't want to dive into that because I don't want to give bad advice. But I've been doing it for a while, and I suggest it. Any real benefit to shooting 75 by 105 4 fletch versus 90-degree 4 fletch with feathers or trad vanes? And I don't think so. And I tried all of them. The Starship Trooper kind of look, the Star Wars 75 by 105 looks a little cooler. But I don't think it really matters, other than it just might, put a little more, pep in your step if you like the look. But I don't know that it really matters. Ideal number of pins for Idaho hunting elk and deer in Idaho, 283 feet per second. Man, I'd say have at least 5. 4 would do it. I got used to 4 with that HHA, but I recently went to that new dialed proof. I like 5. 4 will do it, but I would say 5 would be a minimum. That's 20 through 60. And I think that would be fine. And a lot of people can get away with less or more, but I would say 5. Main difference between the RX-8 and RX-9. So I'm going to do the Ultra because I didn't shoot the other ones. So the RX-8 Ultra and RX-9 Ultra, and I've gotten this question a shitload. The RX-8 Ultra at my draw length, which is in that 28.5 to 29 in comparison. So I'm shooting 75 to 85 pounds on both. I'm at 28.5 to 29 inch draw length. I'm shooting the Ultras. The RX-8 has a smoother draw cycle for sure than the 9. The 9 is 16 to 18 feet faster than the 8. So at 75 pounds, man, and don't quote me on this, but at 75 pounds on my 9, it's the same speed at 82 or 4 pounds on my 8. And let me think about that. Yeah, I mean, it's something like that. I mean, there's a substantial amount of speed difference. I think it's 18 feet or 16 feet difference. The 9 is faster. So which one would I choose? The speed is always nice. The draw cycle on the 8 is nice. So The main difference, there's more speed in the 9. That's the big one. I don't notice a hand shock difference, really. The 9 has a little bit harder cam, so tuning-wise, you're probably going to tear weaker with a 9 than you are the 8. So the 8 was easier to tune because it's what I would call a little bit softer or less harsh cam because that loss in speed. Both of them are pretty badass bows. But yeah, I would say, if you're in that, I don't want to pull back heavyweight and I got a midget draw, like me, I do not have a great draw length. The 9's going to be better, for you. So, looking into lenses, Canon 2-800 or the 1-400 for all things wildlife. Man, I hate to be an ass, but I would say neither of those. I would get the 1-500. That 2-8 seems cool, and there's people that like it, but man, by the time you're at 800, unless you're in a really bright light, you're not letting much light in. You're going to get a lot more shake, a lot of blur. That 1-500 Canon RF would be what I would suggest. Now, you didn't mention EF or RF, so depending upon what you're looking at, you can get some pretty badass 150 to 600 Tamron EFs for the older Canons, but the RF mounts on the Sigma and Tamron, I have not seen great reviews. I haven't really messed with them because I have a 4 and a 600 millimeter 2.8 and f4. So easy, quick answer for the RF, I would say the 1-500. How to prep for the first Western hunt, South Dakota muley as a whitetail only guy. Man, it's South Dakota. I wouldn't stress over it. I wouldn't really do anything different than you're doing. Just try to stay fit, try to stay in shape, try to learn how to be quiet on stalking and work on shooting. But you're not, you're not going into the Rockies, man. It's South Dakota. So I wouldn't stress over it. Just work on stalking and shooting and being quiet when I say stalking. What are your steps to researching an out-of-state hunt that's self-guided? Man, so let's just say I'm going to try to hypothetical, if I'm like, okay, I'm going to go hunt, I don't know, whatever, Idaho elk. First step, honestly, I'm going to call buddies. I'm going to see who I can find, talk to people in different units, figure out what units are over the counter. If I'm not drawing, try to get as much info as I can if possible. I really don't suggest going out early, wasting too much vacation time if you're going to could use that for the hunt. So scout as much as you can, get as much info as you can. Eastman's Tag Hub is a good place to go. Go Hunt has good resources, learning info about that. I wouldn't expect the greatest of info going on forums, and I certainly wouldn't post it publicly because you're probably going to get the shit kicked out of you if you mention a unit. So find the units, find the state, then find the units that are over the counter, figure out a few that you might like, you think you like, try to reach out, find some people in Idaho or whatever state it may be. Then just start looking at the terrain where you might be going, figure it out from there, and then just be in shape and hit the ground hard. Have a primary, secondary, and tertiary. Not sound military, but don't put all your eggs in one basket in one spot. Like have a few options or whatever once you go. Best resources for newer archers wanting to build their own arrows. I've got a ton of videos up. Some were on the Kafaru Cast YouTube page, Kafaru YouTube page. There's some on the BP page. John Dudley's got a bunch. Levi Morgan has a bunch. I think Tim Gillingham does. But man, just you get a Bitzenberger. I think I've got a couple videos called How to Build a Perfect Arrow, but you can find good stuff on YouTube. Podium Archer, probably got some. There's a bunch of people I'm missing, but there's tons of info out there. Can you go over campsite selection and prep for high country, backcountry? Man, I'm not going to, we're doing enough videos about this, so much greater detail. If you can sign up for a course, that would be good. And I'll just take you out on a backpacking trip. The campsite selection is really going to depend how far away is your glassing area, how far away is the water, where are the animals at. You know, basically, are you going to get your shit pushed in from the weather, things like that. But campsite selection is going to have everything to do with that. Oh, I'm not answering that one. Thoughts on sites, driver, Booney, or proof for RX9 Ultra. Man, anything Spot Hog makes is really good. The proof site, that new dialed, so far so good on that one. That's probably one I'm used this year. Spot Hog doesn't make a bad site. I don't know I don't know much about the driver. I mean, HHA makes a good site. Dude, it's a tough, man, there's not very many bad sites on the market. But any, you know, that Booney or the proof is going to be good. Um, can I touch on anything business? Oh, no, I can't touch on that. Born primitive neck gaiter made of quiver material. That may be coming down the pipe. Is it possible to ruck with a cheap small field line backpack? If so, how without a plate? Um, Man, message me on that. I would not do a whole lot of. I mean, you can ruck with a field line pack. It just won't have much of a suspension. You'll, you know, throw the weight in it. Your shoulders will hurt, but probably, um, you know, you can go get a Alice pack or something that'll hold weight a little bit better. But message me and we'll go into that in more detail. Good deal on RX8 Ultra, or go ahead and get the RX9. Man, if you can get a good deal on an RX8 Ultra, I mean, it's not a bad bow. I certainly wouldn't pass that up. BP whitetail gear for next season. Need a jacket. Not happy with the one. We do have some whitetail gear coming out, but it'll be in 2026. How do you know your draw length is perfect, not good, or perfect? Um, Man, if you're kind of green or whatever, like that's kind of hard for me to answer without being there. But if you're creeping out of the bottom of your peep a lot at longer distance shots, up or downhill, your draw length's probably a little bit too long. You know, if you're popping low a lot, your draw is probably a little bit long. If you're popping tall a bit, it's probably too short. There's a lot to it, but I would have to watch you shoot. How does the cold tub affect your Raynaud's? It fucking hurts. I can tell you, when I get in an ice bath, my feet and my hands are miserably cold. It's hard for my fingers to function when I get out. So as far as how it affects it, it certainly hurts. It has not helped it. Favorite trad broadhead. Man, this is tough because I've designed a bunch of broadheads for company, not a bunch, but a few for people, for companies. But man, the Cutthroat 3-blade is one of my favorites. Iron Will obviously is an insane one. Newer trad head, the Evolution. Jekyll is pretty badass on a budget. The Buzz Cut, but man, my favorite, that would be a tough one. Let's see. How are you liking the new proof? I like it a lot. I would say that's probably one of the most, as far as products go, that was the most improved upon product that I had seen in a while. I did not like the Arxos. Digging the proof. There's a review coming out, or really not a review, a description where I talk about the highs, what I like about it, the changes. But I'm digging it. I'm definitely going to use it this year unless something changes. Sorry, reading through these. Any of the wool features lost by blends? What are things to look for when shopping wool? Man, whatever's lost in a wool blend, I would say it's a very, very small amount. And I really do not suggest straight wool anymore, unless it's a thicker, heavier outer layer, like any of the wool companies that you like, Smart Wool. You know, so I mean, not Smart Wool. Smart Wool's a sock, and I actually use Darn Tough and Farm to Feet. So Weather Wool is a company that makes great outer layers for that's straight wool. But when you're talking about base layers, intermediate layers, I really suggest a blend. So you want to do like a wool, like a merino wool poly blend. It dries faster. It doesn't stretch as much. You still don't stink from it. So I don't think any features are really lost that you can actually tell. So I really suggest for people to use the blend. Man, the Kafaru questions, I appreciate everybody asking and tuning in, but I wish them the best. I don't want to go into it any more depth than that. I hope everybody's doing well over there. I just want to move on and stay positive. Just try to make BP as good as I can, because there's a lot of questions on here about that. So, but I appreciate you guys reaching out, and gals. What is your process for getting your bow steady as possible? So that one's pretty easy. So I usually throw a 10 or 12 inch stabilizer up front with 3 to 5 ounces up front. I put a back bar on the bow, and I put anywhere from 7 to 10 ounces in the back, and I add and subtract on the front and the back. I'll pivot my offset bracket on my kicker bar in and out as needed, up or down as needed. And again, I just throw weight off and on and shoot and see what holds the best. And it's literally that easy for me, or that simple for me. Not easy. Nothing's ever easy. It's that simple for me. But I just jack around with weights and length of stabilizers. I had somebody comment, I think it was like, why do I not put my stabilizer on the bottom attachment of a Hoyt? It's physics or something. And it's not that simple. I mean, if the bow shoots better, if you've got 2 stabilizer brackets, top and bottom, if it shoots better on the bottom, do that. If it shoots better on the top, do that. But there's no clear answer to that. It depends on do you heel your bow? Or you have a high wrist, low wrist? Or you have pressure on your bow, where you may be torquing a little bit. What you have for equipment on the bow, just how you shoot in general has a lot to do with that. Estimated restock date of BP outdoor clothing. I got that question a shitload. Just from since I've moved over and some of the different changes we've made, we've quadrupled in sales at BP, which is a good thing, but we weren't ready for that. So restocks are coming. I can get dates on that, but good problems to have. We just sold a lot more than we thought we were going to. Sorry, reading through these. Best GPS route tracking while solo backcountry hunting to find my way back. Man, I have my suggestion here. I am a huge fan of the Garmin. It started out as the 401, 601. This one's brand new. I just got it. And this is the 901. The Garmin Fortrex 901 is probably going to be the easiest way for you to get someplace and get back. It's not fancy. It doesn't have a huge screen. You wear it on your wrist. It takes AA batteries, so you can swap those out. They last a long time, but you can just hit a waypoint, at your camp, hike all day long, hit track back, or, go back to that waypoint. It's going to tell you the distance and the direction to go. I use my M9 to actually follow that back, but ask me for more questions, more in depth. I just did a couple of videos on this, but that's my preferred method. This is the 901. I just got it in. I do use like an Instinct from Garmin or a Phoenix 8 quite a bit, but if I'm doing a longer or more aggressive or expedition style hunt, I'll take that 901. Let's see. For those shooting bigger fixed, iron will wide, for example, best vein setup, man, I would just shoot a 3-inch, relatively moderate to high profile vein. You probably have a right twist on your string, so left helical, left offset. Throw a bunch of helical on there and offset, and hope your bow is tuned really well. Multi-pin sight, do you center the sight housing in the peep or center the pin in the peep? I center the housing in the peep. A lot of guys, old school wise, center the pin and not the housing, but I use my bottom pin as my rover, so I always center the housing. It's just worked well for me. What is the first step in getting less fat? Diet. Diet is the first step. So, man, there's a lot of shit online that gets really confusing. There's like this Dr. Mike dude that throws his 2 cents in. He's a doctor and he's a big bodybuilder. Rogan throws his 2 cents in on stuff, whatever. Andy Galpin, but truly cut out processed foods as much as possible. Cut out a ton of all your sugars, if at all. When I say that, processed sugars, if you can. Calories in, calories out. So take in less calories than you're, putting into your, or take in less calories than you're burning, and make sure they're good calories. But diet is the first step. Dude, the TRT Jessica Laura podcast was perfect timing. Thank you. Yeah, I get a lot of, one hater I have specifically I think he sees my face when he's sleeping with his wife. He's called me like a roided out poacher a few times. It's kind of comical, but I am on TRT. So spirit of like total honesty, full candor. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy. I've had several concussions, which is what they're saying why my natural testosterone is low. So I do take testosterone. Pretty much anyone over 40 probably needs to get on testosterone, definitely get checked. But I'm trying to, even though I get dingle hoppers, right, that say I'm on steroids or whatever else, I am on TRT. I do suggest it if you need it. That podcast with Jessica, she's a friend of mine, just goes into some detail on some signs you may be having that you may need to get on TRT. But if you need it, don't worry about assholes that are talking shit about it. They'll end up on it when they get older too. It is a life changer if you need it. It helps recovery. It helps sleep. It helps sex drive. It just puts you to where you need to be. If you're deficient in testosterone, it just puts you back to where you need to be. So I'm glad you like the podcast. Jessica's awesome. What criteria decides the creation of the new product in the apparel space? It depends on the company, right? But like for us, right, when we have a void or a few voids, we look at, okay, what void needs to get filled? How much of a pain in the butt will it be to fill that void? How much competition is there in the void, and can we make it better? And then we go from there. So really, it just depends on, and obviously, what like demand. That's another big one. None from me. Oh, what's up, Trace? Appreciate you. Have a good day. What's your fox's name? Yeah, that was just a little guy that kept coming to the door at that cabin that we stayed at. I didn't name the fox. Little buddy. I kept saying, come here, little buddy. That's about the extent of his name. Got a Kimber 84. Oh, shit. Don't ask me about rifle stuff. Ask John Pinch or Ryan Avery. Let's see. Okay, this guy's asking. He's trying to steer a larger broadhead. Man, just stay in that 2.6 to 3.0 air razor hybrid type vein is what I would suggest, and throw some helical and offset on that thing. Oh, this one's from Luke from Gladiators Unleashed. This one's classic. Should I kiss my girl right after she licks my butthole? Just asking for a friend. I'm not going to answer that. Can you talk a little bit in depth about your peptides, uses, timing, benefits, etc.? So the peptides is the CJC. Man, I don't go listen to the podcast I just did with Dr. Jessica Laura, and that will, without me screwing up, that'll help. What's the best sliding site for hunting and why? Man, there's a lot of good ones out there right now. I just switched over to that dialed proof. I'm liking that a lot, but man, that's a long drawn out question or answer. Go to packs for day trip, 3 to 5 day, 5 day plus, and go to releases. Let's see. We'll have the reviews and comparisons out on the pack soon. Go-to release. I would say right now my go-to release is definitely going to be, I've got it in my hand because I'm messing with it. The new Ibex thumb button from Evolution. Probably will the only release I shoot for a long time. I generally don't like thumb buttons. This one I really like. But right now I screw around with a bunch of different releases. I like that Scott Verge as well, but I would say this new Ibex is what's going to be in my hand. Have I ever used the canvas cutter Bivy? Yeah, I mean, I haven't backpacked with one, but for the truck camping one is pretty badass, and I definitely suggest it. Lusk Snyder pair up podcast again. Yeah, I'll get a hold of John. He actually texted me the other day. How is your relationship with religion, God? I went to church. I've been going to church, and that's been going well. Some of the sermons are a little hard to sit through, but it's going good. Appreciate you asking that. Best state to target for hunter heading out west. Man, that really depends on what animal you're heading out for. My God, I got a lot of questions. Do you have an in-depth how-to or use guide on using apps like Spartan Forge? I don't have that myself, but I'll build one. Steven, help me out. Garmin versus Lab Radar chronograph. Garmin, by far, with fucking out of doubt, the Garmin crushes the Lab Radar. That Garmin, man, that Garmin is one of the coolest. The new Garmin chronograph, whether it be for archery or rifle, that new one is awesome. Thoughts on Solomon boots? I would not trust them to hold water out. They leak. I've said this a long time ago. Leak like the Iraqi Navy. They are very comfortable. I hear a lot of people when I bash on these, they say Navy SEALs use them. I know that I'm friends with a lot of Navy SEALs. I've worked with them off and on a little bit. But Navy SEALs aren't backpack hunting. They're not doing the same thing. Obviously, they're badasses. I get that. I personally would not do a rugged hunt in a set of Solomon Quest 4Ds, but road hunting stuff, spot and stock, they're awesome. They are super comfortable, but they're not very durable, and they do leak like crazy. Hoyt recurve versus elite recurve. Man, I have not used that elite recurve very much. I was the first one to get it, but man, I've just had way better luck with the Hoyt Satori. It's a pretty hard bow for me not to suggest. You can put multiple different limbs on it, so I would say the Hoyt recurve. Okay, what would be your choice of Maven binos and spotter for Western big game? I have not messed with a Maven spotting scope in a while, so I hate to suggest anything about that. But the Maven like B2s are really good. I haven't messed with anything but those, but the B2s. But I'd have to look into it a little bit more. Top to bottom layering system for Born Primitive. Man, that's pretty easy. I just typed up a gear list for these backpacking courses we're going to be doing, where it's like boots on the ground type of course where we take you backpacking. Man, it's pretty easy. So like base layer, Ridgeline light, some kind of a 60-40 cotton poly t-shirt I generally bring. I know cotton's the devil, but you'll be fine. Half zip quiver fleece. If it's really cold, the half zip quiver fleece and the Ridgeline heavy. Warm weather, Tundra light. Cold weather, Tundra heavy. Rain gear for sure. Top and bottom if it's going to be raining. Frontier light pant or Frontier, depending upon the weather. But, pretty much everything we make has a purpose. So, other than thermal underwear, I don't bring very often. It's pretty cut and dry with what I bring. Left or right helical and why. If your string twists clockwise, and I just did a video on this, if your string twists clockwise, your arrow is going to naturally twist counterclockwise coming out of the bow, which means to the left, which means you would want to shoot left helical. If it naturally clocks to the right, other way around, shoot right helical, right offset. Will you notice a difference? Probably not, but once it gets in your mind, it'll probably fuck with you. So if most string makers twist their strings to the right. Have you recently switched to gas bowstrings? I've used gas off and on, for years. Eric Griggs is a cool guy. But yep, I signed up with gas recently. Bowstrings, again, Eric's awesome. They make an amazing string. They've got some new stuff coming out. They just released at SHOT Show. But yeah, and I did a video putting gas bowstrings on all my bows over the last couple months. I've kind of showed that, but great string manufacturers, and Eric Griggs is a badass. So, but yep, I'm shooting gas bowstrings. Scrolling through, some of these are the same thing. And yeah, like I said, I wish everyone over at Kafaro the best. I don't, there's a lot of rumors going around. Some of them are probably true, but I'm just focusing on, doing my best over at Born Primitive and making that company as good as I can for my part of it. Also the schools, the courses that we're going to be doing, the online stuff, focusing on that. I really, want to get to a point where I'm just hunting and teaching and instructing and helping people kind of learn from all the mistakes I've made and everything that I've learned. And, as you get older, you grow up, right? And I'm still growing up along with all my friends. And when I say that, the drive to put 150 animals on the ground every year isn't what it was even 2 or 3 years ago. Things in life have changed, priorities change. But, to help people, to hunt for sure, I still want to hunt, but to help people, I really like teaching. I really like doing these courses. I really like that brotherhood, that camaraderie, the breaking bread, the hanging out at the end of the day at the courses and just teaching people. So I really want to start focusing more and more on that, which I am. And Born Primitive has been awesome about letting me do that. So let me scroll down if I'm hitting anything or missing anything. Gun to my head, binocular. What binocular? Man, that's easy. And I hear a ton of people talk shit back and forth, especially that specific individual I talked earlier about, like me promoting like SIG or Maven. Look, gun to my head, Swarovski NL Pures are on me. Like I've always said that. I've never deviated from that. Like the NL Pure, I don't even know if that thing will ever be beaten. I just ordered a set of the new 10 power NLs. Having said that, not everybody can afford Swarovski, and the SIG Zulu 10s and the Maven B2s are unbelievable binoculars for the money, and some people just don't need Swaros. But again, like when people ask me that question and I suggest a SIG Zulu 10 or a Maven or something, it's not because it's better than a Swaro. It's because that's where their budget dictates, or that's what they need for what they're doing. But again, the NL Pures I don't think they'll ever be beaten. And then this guy asked the same question about spotters. The Leica makes an amazing spotter, but again, the Swarovski ATX 65 and 95 combo is real hard to beat. 65 for backpacking, 95 by the truck. All around, just a happy medium, get the 85, meaning backpacking and by the truck. But Swarovski can't be beat. When I say that, as of right now, Swarovski can't be beat. Let's see, noticed on rifle. Oh, he's asking, I put Maven rifle scopes on my 300 PRC and my 6.5 PRC. Those rifle scopes were a very big surprise. I'm digging them, zero issue with them. I definitely suggest them. I'm not a gun guy, but compared to other things that I've used, those rifle scopes were pretty badass. So definitely suggest those. Have you tried the same guy Maven question, Maven rangefinder? Yep, I just did a review on it. The dial on the outside is a pro and a con. It gets in the way, but it is nice to be able to adjust everything on the outside, but definitely like that Maven rangefinder. Gun to my head, what rangefinder would you use? The SIG 5K or 5 kilo? All around, that would be the rangefinder. Gun to my head, great for archery, great for rifle. It's really, really close when it comes to the archery side of things to the Leupold Full Draw 5. Full Draw 5 for steep, crazy angles. That probably is the top of the list. But again, I would choose that SIG 5K as an all-around rifle archery one. It's hard to beat. Here's another one I wrote down and I forgot. This guy was asking, are people being paid to switch to the SIG Zulu 6 image stabilization binocular to get away from Swaro? I don't know anyone that SIG is paying to do that. I know Ryan Rotier, and you can just message him with Rotier Outfitting. That dude, his vision is so good, and this is how he explained it to me. His vision is so good that the image stabilization portion of that helps him so much to see what he needs to see, that the lack of optical clarity compared to a Swaro isn't that big of a deal. So, I don't know that SIG is paying one, and I don't like the SIGs as much as I do Swaros. When I say that, like the Zulu 6, having said that, in a truck, like road hunting, scouting, glassing, right? I'm not saying shooting shit out of the truck, but you cannot beat that Zulu 6 image stabilization glassing out of a truck. They are unbelievable, but the optical clarity is not quite there. But again, I mean, it's not, it's not exact. I mean, like optical clarity is not the same as a Swaro, but that stabilization is unbelievable. But no, I don't know anybody that's actually sold their Swaro shit to get Zulu 6s, but like, that's my truck bino. Like that's all that I carry in my truck. You certainly can't glass out of a helicopter or a Super Club with anything but the Zulu 6s. But no, I don't think anybody's being paid. So anyhow, it's been 50 minutes. That went a lot longer than I thought. And I missed about 14 phone calls. But I really appreciate all the questions. I appreciate everybody, the positive feedback, the kind words, the spiritual stuff. There's been a crap ton of people getting a hold of me, on that side of things. So I appreciate that. But no, it's been great. My stress level's way down. Cortisol levels are definitely down. The fitness is going really well. This is probably the most shredded I've ever been. I'm at 11.5% body fat and 221 this morning. So that's going good. I am having knee surgery on the 23rd of January, right before my birthday. So that'll suck a little bit, but I'm going to get that healed up. So that'll be good. So, things are going great. Again, I wish everyone the best, even the people that fucking hate me. Sorry you hate me. I wish things were different, but shit happens when you party naked. So thanks again, everyone, for the questions. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll do another one of these in a few weeks.